you've got to see it. It codifies everything that we've sort of been bumbling around with. And first he made us watch your talk, the TEDx talk, which was amazing. And then he had us all read the book. And it really did formalize sort of those vague notions of what this needed to become for us. And so that became our mantra, like we need to understand our why. Which forced us to really put language behind it, which has been just incredibly, incredibly instructive. And one of the goals of the show is to bring on people that I just owe a debt of gratitude, so I can say thank you.
That's nice of you.
So
thank you.
Thank you. It
You're welcome.
really, really has been amazing. So if it's amazing. Now, I haunted your Twitter feed.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
And I wanted to start with something that you put on there. And you said, we can learn about our future from our past because regardless of technology or the speed of innovation, people are still people.
True.
The thing that I really found interesting is you seem to understand people. What are some key traits about just humans that every leader should know?
Well, I think one of the things that we forget is that we are a legacy machine working in a very different environment than we were designed for, you know? Our species sort of started showing up about 50,000 years ago. There were other hominid species that existed at the time. They died off, we survived. And it was those evolutionary traits that gave us the opportunity to outlive our competition, but also survive and thrive, even as the environment around us changed. We lived in populations that were never bigger than about 150 people for 40,000 of the 50,000 years that we've lived on this planet. It's only the past 10,000 years with farming that we've been living in populations that were larger than that. In other words, we're not made for this, which means all the rules of being human are exactly the same as they used to be when we were living in populations of about 150. And so if you can understand those things, you really understand what works and what doesn't work, regardless of the conditions. The fact of the matter is we are social animals. And we respond to the environments we're in, always. Our very survival depends on our ability to cooperate and trust with the people that we live or work with, right? You can take a good person and put them in a bad environment, and that person will do bad things. You can take a person who maybe the group doesn't trust, maybe they've even performed bad acts. You put them in a good environment, and they're capable of turning their lives around and becoming remarkable members of society. In other words, it's not the person, it's the environment. Leaders are responsible for that environment. And I think leaders forget that. Leaders think that they're responsible for the results. There's not a leader on the planet that is responsible for the results. A leader is responsible for the people who are responsible for the results. And if you take care of that, take care of the people, take care of the environment, things go just fine. You know, we're obsessed with this idea of like getting the right people on the bus, you know, as if it's this game that you just sort of keep changing people out, you know, some sort of mix and match or something. But we never ask which bus and who's driving the bus, you know, because the bus matters, you know. So I'm more obsessed with what happens in the lives of more people, but it doesn't change the nature of leadership. I know many, many people who sit at the highest